It was late May 2022. I got hit with a career ending injury which forced me to quit hockey at only 15 years old. During this time, I was lost. I was devastated. You see, hockey was my entire life. It was the thing that revolved my life. It was my purpose. Each and every single day I had this goal of making the NHL. I would grind and it just obsessed my mind. It was my entire life, my entire identity. And up until that point, it was everything that I knew. And when a man loses his purpose in life, you become depressed. And I was very lost. I was very devastated for a brief time after my career ending injury. And, I spent a lot of time in solitude. I feel like my life, I've spent a lot of times in solitude. And during those times, it's great because without the external noise of friends, family, or just outside noises in general, you're able to really just, what's the word for it? You're able to think clear headed. You're able to know exactly what you want. And because there's no external noises, your mind will work for you, not against you. And I realized right there and then, hockey was never, it was never about hockey. It wasn't about the loss of hockey, which upset me. It was because hockey was the main driver for my purpose. It was what I poured all my drive and ambition in. And I felt that at a young age, I've always had this competitive nature to really just conquer, go all in, have a big goal, and just fucking go chase it with all my heart. And hockey was just an outlet for that, for my drive and ambition. And I realized that I could put that into anything in life. And it was right there and then I thought, what do I want to do now that hockey was gone? And I wanted to become an entrepreneur. You see, I was influenced by, a couple of different influencers, I would say Andrew Tate, Iman Gadzhi, as well as Jack Hopkins, which is a little niche, but, I still follow him to this day. He's a great guy. Get a lot of inspiration from him, just the way he designs his life. And I realized that just being an entrepreneur, being in good shape, just having this freedom lifestyle, the ability to do whatever you want in life, live life on your terms where most people can't, right? It really excited me. And this new life path started to form in my mind, and I got obsessed with it very quick. And instead of making the NHL, I started to envision a new goal, which was to get fucking rich. And at 15 years old, I tried so many different business models before I found my eventual breadwinner with hockey card reselling and grading. I tried the generic drop shipping, Facebook reselling, and affiliate marketing. And all those business models would lead me to a dead end. I did get successful a little bit, seen some success, but it always would die down. And I never got that intuition deep within that this would, make me a lot of money. So I tried those, nothing would work. And finally, it was quite unexpected at the time. So for a little context, I used to just collect cards for fun. I picked it up after my career-ending injury and just did it for fun. Opened some packs here and there. Tried to pull some nice cards, and then I realized that their cards has a lot of money. It's treated like stocks, and I then began to start grading and reselling cards when I figured out the margins with a raw versus a PSA 10. And yeah, that's the whole video in of itself, the whole business model. But we're talking about my story here. Afterwards, when I discovered this business, I had that intuition. For some reason, I just knew that this was it for me. My first ever submission when I made, I turned $800 into $1,600 worth of cards. I somehow knew that I figured it out. Money was solved. I would get fucking rich on this. And I was 15 years old at the time, so what the fuck do I know, right? That's what most people would think, but I believed in myself. And I remember telling everyone that I knew. I was talking to her at the time, and she thought I was fucking crazy because at 15 years old, telling her that I was gonna make 10K a month, and at 16, and yeah, it was really bizarre, but that's just the type of person I am. I love telling people about my goals. It makes me feel some sort of way, and I feel that when I talk about my goals in front of other people, in a way it is kind of dopamine talk because you're imagining yourself doing something and you get a hit of dopamine from it, but it's a positive dopamine because it motivates you to actually make that your reality. So I would tell everyone that I knew at the time about how I was going to get successful in this business, but I had that conviction. I knew deep down I was going to make it. And obviously fast forward to now, 18 years old, I made my dream life become reality. I got fucking successful from reselling and grading hockey cards. The first one to ever do it. Like literally, nobody else. Who else is doing this? Nobody but me. I'm the only one that I know personally that has got rich from reselling and grading hockey cards. And it's crazy because nobody's ever done it before other than me. And I knew that I was going to get successful in it before I got successful. I just knew. And that goes to show sometimes in life you just got that intuition, you've got that gut feeling to take that risk, to go all in. And it really did pay off because look at me now. I want to make this very clear, but the reason why I got so successful was because I implemented burning the boats, that kind of life philosophy. I truly went all in. You see, dropping out of high school, moving out to Van at 17, just sacrificing everything, putting everything on the line for business. You see, failure is simply not an option. You see, when your life just revolves around something as deeply as this, without business, I'm essentially a nobody. And that is a very powerful, it's a scary position to be in because what if I do fail? What if shit hits the fan? But look, that forces me to work in a way which nobody else could compete with me. When you fully have your back against the wall, you've got no chance of retreat. You are going to outwork the person who has a plan B. And for me, I've got no high school diploma. I've got no job credentials. I can't get a job right now if I wanted to. And look, I'm fine with that because that forces me to fucking make it happen when it comes to business. And I've been doing that very, very successful. And the next steps for me is really just take off. You know, this stage of my life right now, it's a very intensive place to be. I really want to just lock in on work, lock in on the mentorship, lock in on my own business, make as much fucking money as possible because look, I don't know about you, but I feel that, you know, as a son, I've got responsibilities. I want to retire my parents. I got the responsibility of my girl. I want to one day be able to take care of her. I want to take care of the people that I love. And I also want to chase the lifestyle that I want to live one day. You see, I want to be in a position where I've got fuck you money. You know, fuck you money isn't, you know, 30K months, 40K months, 80K months. That is when you have more money than you know what to do with. And that's the position where I want to be. And that's only going to happen through a relentless fucking work ethic right now, being obsessed with this shit and being, you know, even at times, sometimes I'm fucking pissed, you know. I use that energy into my work. I'm pissed off that I'm making less money than some 18-year-olds. Look, there's some 18-year-olds on socials making $500,000 a month. Half a fucking mil. And I'm out here 80K months, like, what the fuck am I doing? There are people doing better than me. And how are they even better than me in the one thing that I obsess my life over? I don't know. They know something that I don't. And that is, you know, the mindset which I'm taking along right now to really just, you know, accelerate myself as well as my own business. But yeah, that's enough talking for now. It's like 1 a.m. right now. I'm gonna hit the bed very soon. And yeah, just want to make my daily YouTube video. Keep myself accountable. You guys are gonna see it. One YouTube video every single fucking day. because that my words, my bond. When I say I'm gonna make it happen, it fucking happens. And you guys are gonna see the consistency. So yeah, appreciate you guys for watching through the end of this video. If you guys do want to start and scale your own hockey card reselling business, feel free to DM me cards on Instagram, and we'll see if we're a good fit to work one-on-one. If you want to get jacked, get Strider for the summer, peptides, link in bio, Prosper, the best peptides on the market. So yeah, appreciate you guys all for watching this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Let's fucking go, boys.